Now let's see how we can create a decorator to apply on accessors, meaning getters and setters. So let's define a person class with a constructor with two parameters, first name and last name. Now in this class, we're going to define a getter called full name. And here we're going to return a template string. Inside the string, we're going to add this.first name and this.last name. Now let me show you a tip. When accessing properties and methods of an object, you don't have to type their full name like last name. You can use abbreviations. So LN is enough to bring up the last name property, okay? So we have a getter. Now we're going to define a decorator called capitalize for capitalizing the return value of this getter. So let's define a function called capitalize. Now, accessor decorators are very similar to method decorators because this accessor, this getter, under the hood is just a method, right? So what parameters do we need here? 3 parameters: target of type any, method name of type string, and descriptor of type property descriptor. Now, in this function, just like before, first we need to get a reference to the original method, to the original getter. So constant original. Now previously we used descriptor.value, but this doesn't work for getters and setters. It only works for regular methods. So here we have to use the get property. Now we need to redefine this getter. So descriptor.get equals, here we use a function expression. Now getters cannot have any arguments, so here we're not going to have args, okay? We just have a function. In this function, first we call the original getter. So original.call, and here we pass this. Now, note that VS Code automatically added this question mark here. This is called optional chaining. The reason we see this is because original can be undefined. Look at the type of original. It's either a function with no arguments that returns any or undefined. That's why we have optional chaining here. So this code is the shorthand for code like this. If original is not null and it's not undefined, then original.call this. So this line is just a shorthand for these 2 lines, okay? Delete. Now in this case, we know that original is not going to be undefined because we're going to apply this decorator on a getter. So original will always have a value. In this case, instead of a question mark, we could use an exclamation mark. And with this, we're telling the compiler, hey, I know this is not going to be null or undefined, so trust me, okay? Either way works. So we call the original getter, get the result, and store it here. Now, once again, I'm using the constant keyword here because I don't want to accidentally change the result. Now, look at the type of result. It's any. So here we should check to see if result is a string object, then we're going to return string the 2 uppercase. So if type of result equals string, then we're going to return result the 2 uppercase. Otherwise, we're going to return the result itself. Now we can simplify this code and use a conditional expression. So return, if this expression is true, we're going to return result the 2 uppercase. Otherwise, we're going to return the result itself. So now we have this decorator. Let's see everything in action. So let's create a person object with my first and last name in lowercase. Then we're going to log person.full name. Now let's compile and run our program. There you go. So you see my name in uppercase. Now, what if instead of a string, we return a number here? Let's make sure our code still works. So one more time, we get 0, beautiful. Now, what if we return null here? Let's make sure our code still works. So one more time. Okay, we see null, beautiful. Next, we're going to talk about property decorators.